Good day, everyone, to our fellow retailers and friends from allied industries. CJ Sena here, your host and PRA thought leader, and I'd like to welcome you back to another exciting episode of Season 6 of Let's Talk Retail, brought to you by the Philippine Retailers Association. We hope you've been enjoying our episodes filled with bold, future-ready insights for the next generation of retail leaders. That brings us to today's episode, where we'll feature a frontrunner in the local beauty industry, a brand that's been a household name for decades, specifically 40 years, and continues to thrive. It's now led by a new generation retailer. Let's discover how our guest plans to outsmart the competition and take their beauty business to the next level. But before we dive in, don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the PRA's YouTube channel, and follow us on Spotify so you never miss out on the latest conversations in retail. All right, let's get the show on the road. Today's guest is from a proudly Filipino-owned beauty company behind household names like Ever Bilena, Careline, Hello Glow, Blackwater, and more. She leads brand strategy, sales, digital marketing, and e-commerce, helping drive the company's growth both in-store and online. A graduate of the Haas School of Business at the University of California in Berkeley, she brings a global perspective to local beauty. Passionate about making beauty more inclusive and empowering, she has led impactful campaigns, trend-forward product launches, and meaningful collaborations that resonate with today's consumers. She also serves on the board of the Chamber of Cosmetics Industry of the Philippines, championing innovation and purpose-driven branding industry. Let's welcome Chief Sales and Marketing Officer of Ever Bilena Cosmetics Inc., Denice. Hi, Denice. Welcome to Let's Talk Retail.
Hello, thanks for having me.
We're very happy that you join us. So let's start the ball rolling with this question. For those who may not know the full story, can you share how Ever Bilena started? How did it become one of the Philippines' most iconic homegrown beauty brands? Because it's 40 years old, so since the 1980s, right?
Yes. So Ever Bilena started in 1983. We actually started as a small nail polish company founded by my father, Mr. Dusaldosi. Back then, cosmetics were mostly imported and expensive. So his mission was simple, but quite powerful, I think, because it was straightforward to make beauty accessible to everyone. And so over time, we expanded into makeup, personal care, and became part of the everyday life of millions of women. So I think what makes it iconic today is that we've been around for over 4 decades, like you mentioned, and we're continuously evolving with the times. So from one generation to the next, Filipinos still continue to use our products, and I think the lasting connection is something we're very proud of.
And the key word is evolving with the times.
Yes.
And that includes you because you're a second generation.
Pwede,
Member of the
pwede.
second generation, right? So, as I mentioned earlier before we were recording, it's a very competitive industry. So in a sea of both global and homegrown brands, how does Ever Bilena make a difference?
I think unlike before where there were only a few of us, in beauty today, there are countless options, which also means loyalty is rare. And so I think that's actually what sets Ever Bilena apart, our community. We don't just have buyers, we have advocates who have stood by us for decades, and also new customers who continue to love Ever Bilena, not just for our products, but who we are as a brand. So while other brands trend because they're hype right now, I think for EB, we've really built genuine relationships and trust that lasts. So in a sea of cosmetics brands, our difference is not about shouting louder, but about serving and connecting better. And so our goal now is actually to strengthen loyalty while constantly welcoming new customers and new people through our exciting innovations.
Strengthening loyalty, does that mean you have mothers who are now passing on Ever Bilena to daughters?
And in terms of loyalty, actually, we look at this two-tiered. We have core products that we have introduced to the market for a long time. So these products tend to have a very strong and loyal customer base. So we don't touch the price points for these,
Right.
even though
Right.
costs have increased, we don't touch
Right.
the SRP even. We also touch the formulations minimally. So if there are any improvements, we add vitamin E, or
Right.
packaging, we just make it sturdier. But the overall look and aesthetics, we try to retain because that's something our core customers have really embraced and loved. We have our EV matte lipsticks, our face powders who have been around for a long time. But we also try to carry on some of these innovations to the next generation through new launches. So we have, for example,
Right.
our OG product is our EV matte lipstick in Toast of New York. So recently we actually launched a new collection called the Toast of New York Signature Collection, where we introduced the shade in doe blushes, in liquid lip creams, in liquid lipsticks, and even in an eyeshadow palette format. So this is really to welcome the new Gen Zs. So we have Gen Zs and millennials who are embracing these products. I think the middle demographic here is actually the millennials. So we have the Gen
Yeah.
X's and millennials who have loved the OG formulas for a while. And then we introduced the new
Right.
collection, which now is being embraced by millennials again, the Gen Zs, and we already
Right.
actually see Gen Alpha starting to buy our products. So I think that's a great way for us to introduce an OG collection in a new way, and then be able to embrace all demographics in that sense.
That's right. In fact, you're starting them young if it's the Gen Alpha starting to buy. Part of the things that caught my eye as I was going over your material is you recently launched a campaign featuring Pond Naravit. He's a male
Yes,
endorser. And this is very unusual for a female brand to have a male
yes,
spokesperson. What was the reason behind
yeah.
this campaign?
Actually, Pond Narrowit is not our first male endorser. We started with EXO's Chanyeol in
Oh,
2023. And we've had other K-pop actors who have
okay.
fronted some of
So,
our campaigns as well, like Toy Bomin. So Pond continues that path. And I think the main reason for this is because at Ever Bilena, we believe that makeup is not just about offering products, but connections, and that makeup is really a lifestyle. And so one of the strongest shared connections that we saw is in entertainment, and particularly K-pop and Thai culture. So you see so much joy and connection in pop culture, from singing at concerts, swapping merch, dressing your best for fun meets. So we wanted Ever Bilena to be in that same space of lifestyle, fun, hype, and
right.
community. So at the same time, aside from the community and the lifestyle aspect, we also wanted to promote inclusivity. Beauty is for everyone, and when you see male endorsers reflect that openness, there's
Yes.
they look like straight. It's not like how we have LGBT communities who use Ever Bilena,
Yes.
but these
Yeah.
ones are actually straight males who are being seen wearing lip balm. So it's not, we wanted to promote that, you can enjoy beauty whether you're a cis male or what. So it's really for everyone. And so, and aside from that, I think aside from inclusivity and the lifestyle aspect, you also look at strategy. So while most brands go for female endorsers, as you mentioned, we deliberately wanted to go against the flow to create conversation. And so
Mhm.
all of these combined really also is something we wanted to make sure connected to Everbalanced personality. So EB as a personality is very warm, approachable, fun, and genuinely connected with our audience. And we saw that Pond, as well as his predecessors, our former endorsers, Chanyeol and our model Bomin, all shared that same connection with their fans as well. So I think all of these combined really helped create conversation for us, because we are actually the first Filipino beauty brand to work with a K-pop idol in 2023. And now we're also the first Filipino brand to bring in a Thai actor. So it's
Right.
not actually just being different for the sake of it, but about building authentic and empowered communities around our brand. So I think that's kind of all the different aspects that we looked at when we wanted to get Pond.
That's right. Because it's very different from the usual way. And
Yes.
this, you talked about earlier the different generations. So, what is cosmetics to the different generations of Filipinos? How do they view cosmetics?
I think historically, what I didn't like about how they associated cosmetics before was cosmetics
Right.
would used to be associated to vanity, which is a word that I really don't like. It's not a word that has a positive
Yeah.
connotation, but I really appreciate how today's generation sees cosmetics now because it's how I believe it is. It's empowerment, self-expression, confidence.
Right.
Confidence because cosmetics help you feel your best. And whether it's a lip color before work, a lip color before Zoom, eyeliner before a night out, or even just a tinted lip balm at home, these all help us feel more confident, feel more seen and celebrated in our own way. And so I think that's what makes beauty so celebrated now, especially for the younger generation, because color cosmetics is no longer just makeup, and that's how we see it as well. It's not makeup that we are selling, but the feeling of empowerment, happiness, and then the happiness that you feel whenever you see yourself in the mirror, applying our products and seeing that you look good, and you naturally feel more happy and confident in that way.
So it's beyond color. It's something from the heart. It's a very psychological
Yeah.
benefit.
Yeah, I think
It's a
actually back in the day, my dad would say there's something they call the lipstick index. When times were
lipstick index.
when times were struggling down during the war, and this is not just limited to the Philippines. When life was difficult, sales for lipsticks would go up because it's an inexpensive therapy. You apply lipstick even though times are hard
Yeah.
because you look good, you naturally feel better. And I think until now it's still pick me upper. It's just the difference now is beauty is more celebrated rather than considered a cosmetic aesthetic. So
Yeah, I like what you said. It's a pick me upper. It's a
yeah.
pick me upper. It really brightens your mood. Color puts a dash to a good a jolt to your day, just like coffee.
Yeah.
So maybe lipstick
Yes.
and coffee.
Bangkok. It's caffeine. Beauty is caffeine.
It's like a caffeine. But so Denise, how would you describe the behavior of the different demographics versus in relation to Ever Bilena?
Um, well, to answer your question in relation to Ever Bilena, that would relate to beauty and their beauty behavior as a whole. So, um, there are generally four generations now, right? The baby boomers,
Right,
Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. So the approach for baby boomers are generally more functional, practical, value for money. So these are usually customers who shop in store. They enjoy our markdown offers.
right,
They enjoy hoarding when there's a sale because they feel like they've got a good price. And then usually these are also customers that don't experiment a lot. So they look for special offers on the same products that they've always purchased before and products that are tried and tested. They also look at, products that are recommended by their other friends and probably relatives. So that's how we describe the baby boomers who shop at Ever Bilena. And these are
I
actually
see.
my dad's favorite customers kasi wala daw likot. We don't need to change packaging. We don't need to change anything because when they try the formula and it does well, it just grows organically, at least for
Okay.
the product sales, right? For
Yeah,
Gen X, they're also not as liquid. So Gen X, I think, balances functionality. So they're still quite practical, but they
right,
also look at sophistication. So they like it when there's an upgrade on packaging, but should be enough that they still recognize it. Should be enough so that people would admire them for it. So these products should be fitting to their lifestyle, something that
right,
they feel confident taking out. So I think this is also the kind of where you start introducing aspirationality in branding.
right,
Uh, and moving forward to millennials is where things really change more because it's also in the millennial era when social media and digital marketing is introduced. So millennials tend to be more experience driven. They see beauty as part of their identity, their lifestyle. So this is when the brand's purpose start to have more value. Whereas before, makeup was just basically a product that you're buying. Now it's a story, a little bit more stories that you're telling. What does the brand stand for? Does this align with my values? They care more about transparency as well. So this is the era when people start to read ingredients. It's only the latter part, the younger millennials that have started this habit before, because back in 2014 to 2020, when we were marketing, we'd see people want to also kind of seeing the brands or the makeup products they're using as part of their identity. So it should be
right.
something they feel happy to be associated with. And so that's where we had to start incorporating, for example, endorsers that relate to them more. I think back in the day, it was just about sino yung popular, sino sikat. But now, whoever we get should at least have the same values that the millennials stand for. But fast forward now, Gen Z. Gen Z is really where everything is. Everything is. Oh, I think just to add before I move on to Gen Zs,
Yes.
how we also marketed our innovations when marketing to millennials before. It was mostly looking at global trends. What are products that sell very well in the US,
Right.
products that are popular, and make it available here at a less expensive price point.
Right.
So we see that millennials appreciate that a lot because they care about products as part of their lifestyle. So for example, if they see an expensive benefit lip and cheek stain selling abroad for 1,000 pesos, we make it available at 199. That's something they're happy to try. It's because they feel like I got the same product that's trending abroad
Right.
at a less expensive price. So that's something that millennials appreciate. But now with Gen Zs, they really care about everything. So they're more experimental, they're more fun. I think that's also where we enjoyed innovations a bit more because whereas previously when we saw a new product, we would actually say, ay hindi ready ang Philippines dito, hindi pa pwede. But now we say no one has done this before, let's try it. So I think that's kind of the major shift in terms of marketing between Gen Zs and millennials is really the habit to try and experiment. The packaging is more playful. I think everything is also more genderless in approach. Wala na yung masyadong feminine, wala na yung masyadong I think that's where you even for other beauty companies that we've interviewed, you'll see that it's more genderless talaga, it's more
Right.
fluid. And so I think
Androgyny.
that's where we experiment more for all our brands, not just for Ever Bilena, but also for other beauty brands. So I think here though, the unique thing about Gen Zs are it's not just about being unique for the sake of unique. It still always has to have a purpose. So how we actually shifted our approach now in marketing to Gen Zs is when we develop a product, we already have a story in mind. We already have a campaign in mind. Versus previously, when we would market, we would just look at a product and once it's
Right.
available, we'll say, okay, let's highlight the product ingredients.
Right.
Now, highlighting the product ingredient is just a given. It's just a basic information. It's the stories that you tell, the campaigns, how explosive they are, or how minimalistic they are. It depends on your approach for each campaign. I think that's where we really play around with now for marketing to Gen Zs.
So you do a lot of research.
Research and it's so I think that's why even my answers now I feel like it's quite all over the place because we really look at so many things. We look at the product function. We look because the product function is a given. It has to be functional.
Right.
It has to be effective. It has to work. But on top of that, you need to have very good packaging. So you have to look at unique packaging components that still resonate with the brand personality. And then the product itself, when we launch it, we have to have a story behind it. Why are we launching this product? Why do we need to introduce this to the market? Why do we have to invest in why do customers need to invest in this new product over a sea of all other color cosmetics brands that are out there? So we have to have that story in place. And so it's really a lot of layers now versus how marketing and innovations work before. But I think it's also a lot more work, but a lot of fun. I have a full Gen Z team in our marketing department that really helped me come up with crazy ideas that we like to play with.
Which brings me to a conversation on in the dynamics of your organization. You are a millennial, okay?
Yeah.
Do you still have baby boomers and Gen Xers in your?
Yeah.
Are there
So
more of them? And then how many Gen? If you put percentages, what's the population like by generation?
yeah, we have 6 baby boomers. 6.
Out of
I think 6 or 5. My dad, my uncle, and 3 or 5 other 3 or 4 others that are part of one of our founding employees from
okay,
the 1980s. Oh, no, that's my auntie. So my auntie is also part of our company. My
okay,
auntie. So my dad, my uncle are my dad's our CEO, my uncle our COO, and my auntie Miami. She's in our invoicing department.
Yeah.
And then 2 or 3 other baby boomers. Then we have, I think, 50% millennials, then about 25 to 30% Gen Zs, and then the balance is Gen X. So we're about almost 1,900 employees.
Okay, 1,900 employees. How do you now manage dynamics of four different generations with four different mindsets?
I think we just have to have a common goal and direction. So generally, everyone has different preferences, right? And then the baby boomers have very, I think, a stricter work ethic in terms of how they like things. They're more rigid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but because our direction is we have to evolve with the Gen Zs, they have no choice. So, so I think it comes to direction. So if the direction is clear and then the management team buys into it, then I think it's easier to manage the different demographics that way.
Okay, which brings me to another conversation topic on intergenerational dynamics. And jumping off from our session in the NARSE, you gave your thoughts on being a second generation, especially working with your father, collaborating with tenured employees, navigating the child of owner perception. So, what would you advise second or third generation retail heirs? Should they gain experience outside the family business first or join the business right after university?
Personally, I would have preferred working outside first. I just didn't have the I wouldn't say I didn't have the privilege because I did. I just followed my dad's decision and recommendation to start working for him
Okay.
immediately. But I
Okay.
think it's nicer to work outside so that you have perspective for what work is like or what culture is like outside your company, so that you have at least a reference for what you would like to introduce to your company when you start working for your family
Right.
business. But I think in general, whether you work outside or work in the company immediately, I think the more important thing is to stay grounded and to never stop learning because it gives you perspective, especially for us for me, who work straight in the company and did not work from outside. Um, I had to commit to learning every single part of the business and really learn it from the ground up. But for those who are coming from outside companies, I think it's also important to approach your company with humility, because not all cultures are the same. Not all work cultures are the same, and I think there are some companies, um, those who have come from younger companies or multinational companies, when they come to their family businesses, uh, the hierarchy or the kind of corporate situation might not be the same. And if you like something about the outside company that you're coming from, it you may need to study first how you'd like to apply some of the differences in culture, how you'd like to incorporate the improvements into your company while respecting the the legacy that your parents have already set for you. So I think that's why it's very important to always listen, to always learn, so that once you approach everything with humility, you can find out why these systems or these organizations were set in place the way
Yeah.
they work. Because it worked. As most
It
retail
works. Yeah.
companies, it worked for a long time. Like for my company, for my dad's company, when I joined in 2014,
Yeah.
it's worked for a long time. So, but when I was telling them, bakit walang social media? Or when
Yeah.
I would tell them, how come nobody's using Messenger? No one's using smartphones. Why is everyone still just texting?
Yes.
It can appear arrogant if I did not actually work with them first and then experience what they experience. So I actually did not introduce any changes when I started. I just really joined the business and worked as an employee. Then I would ask, can we include this improvement? Can we, for example, instead of doing manual inventory reports, can we use our phones and then have a form? And then slowly, we adapted. And I wouldn't say it's because of me, but I think it's because maybe I also got lucky that I was able to experience it firsthand and also was heard. I also actually spoke with other employees to see what kind of improvements they like. And so I think in general, where I'm coming from is when we come into our family businesses, whether it's starting from the company business as a whole or just coming from outside, it's important to really approach it with humility, but also with confidence, but without attitude, so that at least you're respected and you're also learned from.
I like that. Humility, confidence without attitude.
Yeah, confidence without attitude is actually a pillar from uh the school where I graduated from, the Haas School of Business.
Right.
So we have 4 pillars, and they always stress the importance of confidence without attitude in all our decision making.
That's a good precept, and I think our third and second and third, even fourth generation members could learn a lot from that. Now, let's flip the script a bit. What do you think people misunderstand about Ever Bilena today? So if you had 30 seconds to clear the air, what's that
37.
perception? Or maybe a minute,
The
clear the air.
In 30 seconds, under a minute, I think the biggest misconception is that we're just a budget brand.
Okay,
Budget. The truth is we are affordable, but we are not cheap. We
all
invest in
right.
research, high quality ingredients and formulations, innovations and global collaborations. The reason why we're able to provide our products at the affordable price points that we're able to is because we're really efficient, make sure we're scaled. And I think that's not something all beauty brands are able to have, that we're blessed to have the opportunity to have. So if I had 30 seconds to shift perception, I'd really just say Ever Bilena is not only a Filipino brand, we are a world-class beauty company that just happens to be accessible to everyone. So I'm not sure if that's a good
I
way to
think
shift perception, but
I think that's a mic drop. Boom. that's that's a good one. All right, let's wind down and let's go reflective this time. Okay, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your 21-year-old self?
I think it's taking it easy. I actually was 21 when I graduated college. Then I
Yeah,
started working at 22 for my
okay,
dad in 2014. I felt really pressured because I always wanted to make sure my dad was proud. I also wanted to make sure I did not embarrass him with
okay,
employees, because he built this business from scratch. So if I'm incompetent, or if I'm not delivering the kind of work that they're expecting for the daughter of the owner, it might paint a bad picture on him and even my uncle. So I put so much pressure on myself and I really worked very hard. But looking back, I feel like I could have rested a bit. Pero okay lang naman. I think in general, it's really telling your mind that when we're younger, we feel like, it's always the end of the world if something doesn't happen right. But I think the world's able to adjust in your favor naman sometimes, as long as you keep working at it, you know that what you're doing is right, you're in the
right.
right direction, your purpose and your vision is correct. So I think it's really just taking less mental load for myself.
Okay, that's a good point. Now, last two questions. What keeps you up at night? Maybe last
Keeps
two
me
questions.
up.
What keeps you up?
Well, what keeps me up at night? Keeps me stressed, keeps me on my toes. I think in general, making sure all our over 1,900 employees continue to have livelihood by making sure we make the right decisions in managing the business well, and also keeping our brands on top. I am really lucky though, because I'm the daughter of the owner, so I'm not technically the most in charge of really making sure everyone has their salaries. It's still my dad, and I still have my COO, our uncle, present guiding me. So that takes a load of pressure off of me. But in terms of working as a chief sales and marketing officer, I really am just concerned in making sure I bring in the revenue and have the marketing efforts that help deliver the growth that we like, while managing cost for sure, so that the company continues to be profitable and really bring it to the next generation and the next level.
Right, and take care of the employees and the families dependent on them.
Yeah. That's actually the reason why I went home, because my dad, I remember one of our sales managers, our sales manager, Noel, when I was in the US still, he told me that my dad actually, in one of their sales meetings, my dad was uh tearing up a bit because he was telling them that he actually does not need the company anymore. When he started the company, it was to make a living,
Yeah,
but now it's but he's already kind of saved up enough for himself and our family that he doesn't need to
right.
actually work that hard anymore. But he said the reason why he continues to wake up and work hard is because so many people rely on the company for livelihood. And that's when he teared up. And when my sales manager told me this, I realized I owe it to my dad and the people who helped build the company to make sure it's sustainable and that we continue to give back to our employees. And so that's actually something I really hold dear in my heart.
That answered my second question. What wakes you up excited in the morning?
Pwede din. It's actually both. It keeps you on your toes. You're worried, but you wake up knowing that, because you're doing the right things, people continue have to be able to feed their homes, to feed their families.
Right.
But aside from that, I think what wakes me up is, because aside from just making sure our employees have livelihood, we also actually have to have passion for the campaigns that we're doing. Everything now is more marketing driven.
Right.
So I want to make sure me and our team, our marketing team, wake up refreshed and rejuvenated to create more ideas and more innovations that our customers can enjoy. So that's actually something we really think through. Like today, we actually have a shoot downstairs for Hello Glow. Then just last Saturday, we had a shoot for Caroline. So because we have so many brands, we have shoots almost every week, and then we want to make sure it's something that we're releasing, not just for the sake of having something to release, but something that's relevant and that can resonate with our customers.
And finally, what excites you about the future of the Philippine cosmetic industry in general and for Ever Bilena in particular?
What excites me, I think like before, just how we talked about earlier regarding the
Yeah.
demographic changes. So the way we marketed things before is much different than how we market it now. And I think the big struggle for EB and even other legacy brands is kind of shifting perception, right? From being an older brand to an innovative new brand. And I think we're very blessed to have been able to address that very well by staying relevant to our Gen Z customers. But I think one of the big reasons why we're able to shift and pivot so fast is also because the Philippine color cosmetics industry and the beauty community as well is so welcoming.
Right.
um, I'd say while we can say that the cosmetics industry is considered saturated because it really has so much competition now,
Right.
there's still actually so much opportunity. There's really a place for growth when you're able to connect well to your customers. Customers now are more adventurous, more informed, and more supportive of local brands. And so I love the energy that the beauty community itself is giving. Social media has made beauty more democratic. We are more
Right.
experiential. We have so many shorts on YouTube and TikTok that really show how exciting beauty is. And so I guess for Everbelena, I look forward to the opportunity of also being recognized regionally and even globally, because we have already seen this through our global collaboration with our brand endorsers. When we launched Pond, we had so many pasabay.
Yeah.
The word pasabay from customers who asked the local fans community to buy Everbelena for them so that they could get the merch that they saw Pond was
Right.
using. And so to see that kind of love and then see all the comments on X, formerly Twitter, talk about how much they wanted to try Everbelena, but they're from Vietnam, they're from
Right.
Thailand, they're from Indonesia and Singapore, shows me that there's actually so much opportunity if we ever decide to go there.
Yes.
But as a whole, I think we're just generally so excited to contribute to the makeup industry because it's not just us that are growing now, it's also all the other local brands, all other local beauty brands. And together with Everbelena as well as the other beauty brands, I think we can actually help make Philippines become a beauty powerhouse. And that's something I'm personally passionate about because K-beauty, you see K-beauty a lot. You even hear about Thai beauty now. There's also Japan beauty. Pero Philippine beauty, I think, still has so much potential to be known as a destination for high quality beauty brands. And I think that's something we're happy to take part of and hopefully lead towards the next generation.
That was very passionate. And
We're super passionate.
that's a great thing. I think passion is very important.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Denice, for spending time with us. Very candid, very insightful, and speaking from the heart. And that wraps up another insightful episode of Let's Talk Retail. A big thank you again to Denice for sharing her journey, her strategies, and her passion for pushing boundaries in the local beauty industry. It's clear that Ever Bilena continues to evolve, staying relevant, empowering consumers, and leading with purpose. And I hope you walk away with fresh ideas, aha moments, and inspirations to take your own brand or business to the next level. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Let's Talk Retail's YouTube channel or follow us on Spotify so you can keep abreast on more stories from trailblazers shaping the future of Philippine retail. Until next time, this is CJ Hasena, your host for Let's Talk Retail. Good day and see you next time. Thank you.